Hello and welcome to Tax Tips Tuesday, episode, I don't know what episode number it is. I've lost track of the days, you guys. I think 13 or 14. It is Tuesday, March 24th today. And this is not live on Facebook at the moment. I usually have been doing my Tax Tips Tuesday on Facebook Live, and then I download the video and I share it to my other platforms. But for some reason, the live format on Facebook has changed. I'm no longer able to download it. So that's okay. We're using my Zoom video conferencing today, which will also allow me to do a screen share, and then I'll save this video and share it on my platforms. So if you've not seen a previous episode, this is called Tax Tips Tuesday. It's a weekly live broadcast that I do to bring my tax tips during tax season for you. And today's topic is going to be the disability tax credit. I thought that this would be a good one to do because it's something that I think not a lot of people really understand or might know some of the specifics about this credit. And it is possible that you or someone that you know, someone that you're caring for, your dependent, could be eligible for this. And it is a very high tax credit. So it's something that can really make a big impact on your tax return. So it is worth spending the maybe 20, 30 extra minutes that it would be to see your doctor and find out if you or your dependent might be eligible. So I'm going to jump to a screen share here. Okay. And I wanted to show you, and I'm going to walk through the form, and I'm going to just explain for you how exactly you would go about finding out if you are eligible for the disability tax credit and then applying for it. And so first of all, finding out if you might be eligible or if someone that is your dependent would be eligible there is a nice little quiz that you can answer. And we could all handle an online quiz, right? We know how to do that. So here is the link. So I'm just on the government website right now, and there's this link here. I'll post this in the comments where it says answer a few questions. So it takes you through just a short questionnaire to see if you or like the person that you're thinking of might be eligible, just to give you an idea. And then if you think that you are eligible, then what you need to do is get your doctor or another medical practitioner that's going to be applicable in the situation to sign off on this disability tax credit certificate form. So this goes from you print it out, you take it into your doctor's office for the appointment. They'll do the assessment, and then if the doctor signs off on this, then you would mail a copy of this form into CRA, and that's how you get the eligibility for it. So I just wanted to tell you what it's called. So it's form T2201. If you just Google that, T2201 or disability tax credit certificate, you'll be able to find this PDF. So the first part is information about the person with the disability. So that's not going to be you unless you are the person with the disability. But if it's for your spouse or your child or your parent, then you put that person's info here. And then if that person has no income of their own, so that person is your child, then you as the parent are going to be the one claiming the tax credit on your tax return because you're financially supporting this person. So that could be, maybe it's your spouse who is not working because they have a disability, or it's your child, or it could be a parent. And an interesting thing that I wanted to point out here that I think not a lot of people will know is there is a question about, does the person with the disability live with you? Yes or no? And then if you answered no, does the person with the disability regularly and consistently depend on you for one or more of the basic necessities of life, such as food, shelter, or clothing? So I have had clients who are able to get this for their elderly parents if the parents are relying on them financially, like perhaps you as the adult child are paying for your parents' medication, perhaps, or even just helping them with basic necessities of life, so food, shelter, clothing. They do not have to be living with you in order to qualify as your dependent. They could be still living on their own, or they could be living in a nursing home perhaps. And if they're dependent on you, then you could fill in this form for them, take them to their doctor's office and have the doctor certify this form. But then you, as the working adult, would be able to get this tax credit. And I have had that situation with a few clients, and I think that's something that people maybe have a bit of a misunderstanding about, expecting that the only way that they can call someone their dependent is if that person is living with them. But in this case, they do not have to be living with you. And then they want you to give some details here about, what is the support that you're providing for this person. And so you can write a description there and attach a second sheet if you need to. This part here, once the eligibility is approved, so if it's approved, you'll receive a letter from CRA saying, yes, this person is approved, or no, they are not. And do you want CRA to adjust your returns for any applicable years? So what happens with this disability tax credit sometimes is that it can get backdated. So if you have a child and perhaps you weren't aware of this tax credit, and you're now seeing the doctor about it, and the doctor is going to say, okay, this condition has been existing since 2015, let's say, then the doctor will put the year on the certificate. And then when you send it into CRA, if you say, yes, I want the CRA to adjust my returns if possible, then they will actually go back through the previous years and send you notice of reassessments and apply that disability tax credit to the previous years. So for that reason as well, even if you think, oh, it might just be, I may or may not be eligible, or I might be, it's still a good idea to talk to your doctor and find out if they think that it could be, because you could potentially get a few years adjusted and get refunds from previous years as well due to this tax credit. Okay, and then you're going to sign off, and the rest of the form is for your doctor to fill out, okay? So depending on the section, it shows the different categories, and then it shows what sort of professional is the one who can sign off on this. So if it's to do with the person's vision, then it has to be a medical doctor, nurse practitioner, or optometrist. Speaking, hearing, got a few different ones there. We've got audiologists there. Walking, any of those would be fine. So it doesn't always have to be your family doctor. It would be whoever is treating that person. Eliminating, feeding, dressing, and mental functions. I think that's the last category. Oh, no, life-sustaining therapy. So there's requirements in here. Your doctor or your medical professional will be familiar with this because they should have seen this form before. They probably get asked for it pretty often. So you may want to have an initial appointment just to ask if they might be eligible, but bring along a copy of this form. So you're going to want to print this out. And again, I said that it is called the T22, where did that number go? It's on the first page. Disability Tax Credit Certificate T2201. Okay, and it's pretty long. It's like 6 pages long. And then when it's done, on the last page here, it'll say where to send it to. So if you are in British Columbia, then you send it to this address by mail. Okay, and all right, before I wrap it up, I wanted to also just mention, I had one situation with someone with celiac, and I did a bit of extra research and found that it was interesting that this person was allowed to write off the gluten-free foods that they needed to buy because of their celiac condition. So that's not going to be for someone who is, avoiding it for dietary reasons or who is gluten intolerant. But if you are legitimately celiac and you have to buy gluten-free foods that are then more expensive than the regular alternative, you actually can claim as a medical expense the difference between the cost of those gluten-free foods and the cost of the normal alternative. So like if you take a gluten-free loaf of bread is $5 and a normal loaf of bread is $3, then that $2 difference you get to claim as a medical expense. So a bit of a strange example, but an interesting one, I thought, for anybody who might have celiac, that you could pass that on to a friend. So that's our coverage today for Tax Tips Tuesday for the disability tax credit. I will mention as well, there is another one that is related to this that's called the caregiver tax credit, and it's slightly different. So if you're not eligible for the disability tax credit, you may still be able to get the caregiver tax credit. So I'll probably choose that as my topic for next week, Tax Tips Tuesday. And as usual, if you have a topic that you want me to address, you are welcome to comment on this video or send me a private message to Decimal Accounting Inc., either through my Facebook or my Instagram page where I post the videos. And I also just wanted to say that if you are someone who is looking for help with your tax returns this year, if you have not already heard, the tax filing deadline has been extended. So it is now March 2020. We normally have a tax deadline of April 30th for individuals who are not self-employed and June 15th for self-employed people. So now the regular tax deadline, instead of April 30th, has been pushed to June 1st. So we all have a little bit of extra time to get our taxes done. That's going to be very helpful if you are using an accounting office that normally does in-person appointments, as right now I think most offices would be closed to in-person appointments. Or you can use an accounting service like the one that we provide at Decimal Accounting, which is entirely online and paperless. That's how we've always done it. That is sort of our way that we just like to do business, is online and with modern technology as much as possible. So it's nothing really out of the ordinary for us during tax season. We are still able to help people across Canada who live in different provinces than us. And if you would like to tune in next time, you can hear more about the caregiver tax credit on Tax Tips Tuesday. And I am Alicia Lowen. I'm the owner of Decimal Accounting Inc. And if you would like to contact me by email, you can reach me at info@decimal.ca. Have a great day, everybody.